I'd like to call the meeting to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Bell.
Here.
Trustee Brewer. Here. Trustee Grant.
Here.
Trustee Kuzinski. Here. Trustee Todd. Here. Trustee Williams.
Here.
The first item is a request from the for creation of a liquor license for the BFF exclusive events banquet facility. Is Ms. Quinana Smith here? Kiana. Oh, okay. I understand that you wanted to get a liquor license for your events, because we don't have a liquor license for banquet events. No, we don't. So you would have to inform the board what is it that you want to do. I'm sorry that I don't know why. Okay, oh, you got something to pass out?
Mr. Renzo. So I'm requesting this to rental banquet facility, so we would like to have a liquor license for receptions, wedding receptions, events, repasts. So just for the clients that come in and rent, we don't want to be an open bar. That's not what we're looking for.
Okay.
The space will also be used, we'll do like line dancing classes, a lot of different classes we'll have there during the day. On the weekends, it should be rented out for private events.
So basically, you're looking for a license for just banquet facilities only.
Yes.
And then you do understand this license will not entitle you to get a gaming parlor.
Oh,
I
no.
just want to say, I just want to let you
We
know
don't
that I
want
want you to turn in later and say,
No.
well, you know, why can we have gaming, you know, too?
No.
Okay, so it's just for events
It's
that you
just-
have the people rent it out so they can serve liquor?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All
Two
right,
gamers next to us, and we're not interested in gaming.
Is there any questions on the board from this?
Where's the location?
8th Plaza, so we're right next to the post office. On the end with the white curtains. Next to the post office, behind the Popeyes.
Yes, next to the post office on the end.
I have
Any other questions?
So you said you want this, so you're gonna be renting it on the weekend, so that's what you want the liquor license for the weekend?
Well, we won't,
Or
somebody may rent during the week as well. So if
Okay.
there's a repass during the week or something like that, we want to be able to serve liquor for any events. We just want it to be made clear that we don't want to be an open bar. We don't want people walking in and it's a bar. That's not.
And what hours are you looking at? Like if you were to do a wedding reception?
Depending on when they book, but most people have been calling to have receptions like on a Saturday afternoon. We had someone yesterday come in for 2 to 6 for a wedding reception. So, afternoon to evening, just depending on how people book their time.
You don't have to have a brochure or anything, you know.
I have some cards that I just passed out. I don't have a brochure, but our Facebook page is BFF Exclusive Events.
Okay.
And on there, there's plenty of pictures. We had an open house. We wanted just people, residents to come in. It's next to the post office, behind the Popeyes with the white curtains up.
Please address the questions to the board.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. They have a chance to answer questions. Any other questions? from
Is this the
board?
first time that you've been asked to address the board about your business?
The first time? No, when I came in to apply for my business license, I was told that I was gonna have to go before the board because, like the mayor just said there, I was told there was not a license for a banquet.
That's what I'm saying. So this is actually the first time you've been before the board?
Yes, this is my
For a
first
liquor
time.
license?
Yes.
Okay. But your business is already ready to open?
We're not ready to open as far as the VIP room, which is where our bar will be.
Right.
We just received our business license, so we don't have anything set up to serve any liquor right now.
I'm just curious if that's the procedure that the board normally takes. Do we usually invite people to come to the board before they move into their business and actually get to the point where they can operate? Because I'm concerned if you were promised a liquor license and or were you promised?
I was
should
never
say.
promised
You were
a
never
liquor
promised, but in order to do your business the way you'd like to do it,
Yes.
you need a liquor license.
Yes.
And my understanding, if I heard right, is that we have no liquor licenses for this type of business.
We have no liquor license for this type of business. That's why I asked. She was told to come in to present it to the board so a license could be created for banquet facilities.
Exactly, yes.
And again, my question is, when she first approached the village about the business license, did
She
we
didn't approach
talk
the
to her
village.
then?
She didn't approach the village about it.
No, I'm saying, what is the normal procedure? I'm asking for in the future.
What her procedure is, she came to apply for a business license. She was granted a business license. At the time, she wanted to be able to serve liquor during banquet time. To have a license so she can serve liquor during hours of rental
Okay.
and rental only.
Exactly.
That's good to know, because I'm just saying this is the first time since I've been on board
Right.
that a business has come forward. So I'm curious what the procedure is, so we know moving forward. I just hope that in the future, a business who will be requiring a business license will come to us before they've made the investment, because now I feel you've made the investment, so it would be very difficult to say no to your business license if that's what your business is going to entail. So that's what I was just saying.
Trustee, when you come and do a business, unless it's a business that's not allowed in the village, we cannot, as a village, reject a person that wants to open up business if it's not a business that's not already on the books, that it's not allowed.
Absolutely,
So
I agree.
why would a person when the person came for, to open up a store, open up something, they didn't come from the board, they asked for it, got a business license. They didn't ask could they do business in the village. Because if you reject it and you have no reason to do that, then you pending litigation.
I have no reason to.
No, I'm just
not
saying, so
stating
that's
I'm
why
going to
you're
reject
saying
it.
that why is it that a person that wants to do business in the village coming for the board, unless they're coming to the board to let them know that they're opening up a business, but can they have permission to open up a store? There was other stores that came. There was a resale shop that came in the village, got a business license. They got inspected. They opened up. They didn't come before the board and say, "Can I open up a resale shop?" So that's not normal practice. I just want you to understand that's not normal practice unless it's a business that's suspect, something that we've never had, or something that will cause detriment or have questions. If you're going to open up a liquor store, then quite naturally you would come before the board. But something like this is not a gaming, as a banquet hall, I don't see a reason why the board would have to vote on something like that. But when she wants a license for liquor, yes.
That's what I was asking for
If the liquor
clarification.
license has not been created for that, then yes, she would have to come. But not for, I just wanted, because you made mention that if you're glad to see people that come open up a business come before the board. That's not usually the case.
That's what I needed to know, Mr. Mayor. This is my first meeting as a trustee. I was asking for clarification. I appreciate you coming to the board, and I appreciate your clarification. I just wanted to know what the process is so we know how to deal with this in the future. Again, open and transparent. I just wanted to know the process, and thank you for explaining that to me. And
Any other
hopefully
questions?
it'll do well.
Any other questions?
I've got it, sir. Your business hours are going to be from?
We don't have set business hours. From what I understand from the application, I have to wait until my liquor license is approved to know exactly what time we will be able to close, because they'll let me know what time we have to stop serving liquor.
Right, so it'd be like, basically like 12 to 12 or something like that.
So yeah, I mean, maybe
Just to
we would like to end everything around midnight.
That's how that would work, right, Mr. Mayor?
No, the liquor,
For the liquor
okay,
license.
liquor licenses usually go to 2, but if she can close whenever she wants to, but the license would not go any further than 2 o'clock.
Okay.
So whatever the board grants,
Right.
if she has a party there, they cannot serve liquor after 2. Now, after that, if she has a party there and they're not serving liquor, that's a different fact. But liquor cannot be served after 2 o'clock.
Thank you for your
With the liquor
clarification.
license.
Thank
Is there
you.
any other questions? Okay, Madam Clerk, could you put that on the agenda for next week to be voted on for the license for BFF for their banquet facilities?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 2, 4th of July parade. Trustee Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. About a month ago, I first approached you about a 4th of July parade, hoping that we could get started on something that I feel that the village would benefit from. However, since it's now so late in the year, I don't think that it'd be feasible. I don't think that we would be able to organize a parade in the way that it should be done. So what I would like to do is to not look for a 4th of July parade, but I would like to plan for a Labor Day parade. I think if we do that now, start planning for it when it's budget time, we can also make sure that the police and fire and as a department are on board, that it's in the budget to provide for the salaries for that day. I would like to bring a community event sooner rather than later, but I'm going to ask that we postpone this and make it a Labor Day parade.
Okay, thank you. Financial reports, i.e. payroll, accounts payable, invoices, now, Trustee Bernice Brewer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In an effort to make things more transparent and allow trustees to be more involved with the review of financial documents, the following recommendations are as follows. The payroll and vendor reports should be separated. Generally, payroll is in the same pay period. Payroll is the same amount each month. There's very little or no concern about approving payments for payroll. Generally, employees get paid. However, in the cases of vendors, information has not been provided, is vague or either non-existent. Invoices have been posted to the AP, the accounts payable, without vital information that can affect the outcome of how we decide on whether or not we should pay the bill. It is recommended that vendors provide an itemized statement, which has been done in the past, that shows the expenditures from every invoice and only posted after we get these itemized bills from the vendors. It is common practice for the AP to be posted without any real review of what's going on. So effective immediately, whenever we have a vendor, we want an itemized list of what's going on. To pay some of these vendors outrageous amounts and we don't know what it's for, professional service, as you say, is a really disservice to residents. We don't know what we're voting for. So if we separate the payroll from the vendors, payrolls are always going to get paid. Vendors is one that we could pull out separately and ask questions as we go along. All invoices from like McCain McKinney, Robinson Engineering, Baxter and Woodman, the Lab Group, Olson, and Sturks, all should have an itemized list of what we are paying. We get these bills, we still don't know what they're paying for. Another thing that we want to ask, item 3, is that the line numbers be put back on the accounts payable report. It's helpful to us as trustees to know which line that we are paying money out of. You know, in the last accounts payable, there were some questions about what line items should be paid out of. This is open. This is open and transparency information. This is something everybody should have, and it should be on accounts payable report. Now, in accordance, number 5, in accordance with Illinois State Statute, trustees should have access to all financial records. That's in the Illinois State Statute and the Sauk Village Code. Attached is ordinance that I'm going to give 2 copies of, but I'd like it to be sent to the Ordinance Review Committee because they need to look at it. Now, this particular ordinance identifies public information. Trustees are supposed to get public information upon demand. All we have to do is ask for it. For some reason, we're not getting that information. So here's an ordinance that we're gonna present to the Ordinance Review Committee, and they're gonna take a look. We hope to get back by June 4th, but then it has to go to the attorney. So it's gonna take us a little longer than normal. And also, all this belongs to financial audit. Here's a copy of the audit services that we have approved on the previous meeting. and it explains the overview and the scope of services. And that, the financial audit is to be done by June 2nd. And the proposals are supposed to be out, and so we can review the bid by June 4th. Now, you guys want to take a look at some of that stuff, and that's it in my report.
Trustee Brewer, I have a few questions.
Yes.
I have a few, so I'll just go in order. You mentioned we. Who was we?
Trustees.
Trustees who? Like everybody but me?
Everybody up here who said us a trustee.
Okay. All right, and then also you mentioned that you made a statement that payroll is the same amount each month.
I said generally it's the same amount each pay period, and we have very little concerns because generally it's about the same amount every pay period.
Okay. And the reason that we don't have itemized detail of the accounts payable is because if that's the case, the accounts payable will be 70, 80 pages long.
That's the invoice.
Trustee, let me finish. So that's the reason why interim director of finance has the invoices in his office ready for you a week prior to the accounts payable, so that way that they don't have to be that long. You can see the detailed invoices in his office. Then accounts payable is just a summary of everything that we're paying. So you don't need the accounts payable to be 75 pages, but you can just look at the invoices and then say, okay, this is what we're paying. So you know exactly what you're paying. We just have to go to his office and see the invoices.
Well, Trustee Grant,
Yes.
I didn't ask for 75 pages for the accounts payable. I asked for the invoices to be itemized.
No.
The invoices are the ones that we're going to review. You get the invoices, they're fine. Let's put them on the accounts payable. I don't want to put them on the accounts payable and then have to come back and say, oh, they're not there, or we're not going to pay them. They need to be reviewed before they be put on accounts payable. That's what I'm saying.
No,
and they could be itemized.
No, I totally agree with you. However, when a vendor sends in a invoice to the village, let's say we'll just take we'll just take somebody for gas, right? Mm-hmm. If they make 2, 3, 4, 5 deliveries during the month, they won't send a invoice for each specific one. They'll just summarize it in an accounts payable. So they don't send 5, 6, 7 different invoices. They can just send one summary. So therefore, all the invoices that we're paying on accounts payable, they're in a folder in the director's office that you can come see. And so he has them listed out there, and you can review them, and that's exactly what's on the accounts payable that we're going to approve or not approve. So, I think that you're saying that you want to see everything broken out, and I don't think that's not possible, because all the vendors are not breaking things out like that. That's how they're sending it to us.
Trustee Grant,
Yes.
when you get an invoice, anybody could tell you get a Conway Air bill, NICOR bill, it tell you what each item is for. We should be putting invoices on our accounts payable when we don't know what it's for. I said, take the invoice, tell the vendor that we need an itemized list of what we're paying for. It's simple. We do it every day. Your day-to-day operations, whatever we do every day, you don't get a bill that you don't know what each little item on that bill is for. Otherwise, you're going to call and say, well, something's not right here. So I'm asking for the invoices to be itemized, which we have always done. All of a sudden, now it's professional services. What does that mean?
No. So if I'm trying to understand you correctly here, so instead of having 5 different invoices with 5 different things, the vendor might put one invoice, put those 5 things on it. It's still itemized and broken out just on one sheet of paper instead of 5 different sheets of paper.
Well, that's okay.
I know. So those invoices are privy to you and whoever else wants to see them in the finance director's office. So they're all broken out. And then what I think you're saying is professional services. So I think you're saying what falls under professional services. And if you want to know that, you have to go look at the invoices and say, okay, Olson and Sturk says this, they did this on this date, this on this date, this on this date. So we don't put all of that on the accounts payable because it's already in the invoices. So there's no need to have, it's like double dipping, if you like, it's like double efforts, honestly, basically.
Trustee Grant, what
Yes.
I'm saying, the invoice goes on accounts payable.
Yes.
Okay? The itemized statement goes on the invoice.
Yes.
The statement goes onto the invoice goes onto the accounts payable. That's how it's done in the real world. Okay? So that's something that's open and transparent. That's something we need, because we shouldn't get all these bills and we don't know what we're paying for. As simple as that. We had an issue with getting a bill last, I'm going to say 2 weeks ago, where it shows, what is that thing? You know, where we had to take fingerprints, the polygraph. We don't know who that was for, but yet we paid for it. So I want to know what elected officials, we got the invoice that says elected official, what if elected officials pay for a polygraph test? See, those are things that should be spelled out in the invoice.
Right, so if I, and
That's just one example.
Finance director can chime in if he wants, but he has the invoice that says polygraph test and who it's for on what date, such and such. That's back there in the invoices. You just have to go see it. And to answer that question, I did ask that same question to the finance director last week, and that it was for one of the new officers who is in training, or so that's what it was for. Just so you know. But all the detailed invoices, they're back there, and he has a big accordion folder. You can just go see it and look at what it is.
Trustee Grant, I go back there and look at
But I mean,
invoices.
you ask for something that's already done. That's all I'm saying.
No, okay.
We already do that.
It's not all the way done, because we get a lot of invoices that don't have itemized breakdown. We can't tell you what the lab group has been paying. We know we pay, they pay for union negotiation. We don't know how many hours, whatever. We need to be broke down how many hours is being paid, who's being paid, you know, and for what item. You got Olsen and Sturks has a large bill every month. We don't know what we're paying them for. You got Baxter and Woodman, and they doing engineering service. You have Robinson Engineering doing services. We don't know what it's for. They need to start telling us what we're paying out our money for. That's standard practice on any business that will tell you, you know, you being $5 for getting this roll of paper, $10 for getting the hook. We need to know what it's for.
Absolutely.
And that information is available when vendors create their documents. And I don't see why we can't get it. It's normal procedures for any vendors to provide you with that kind of information.
Correct. So,
Can I speak on that?
sure. Ask the mayor.
I'm not for anyway. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
First, let me say, wow. There's a lot of confusion with what is best practice. With respect to the accounts payable, from what I can tell, it was not done in the past with all the invoices being on accounts payable list. What's on the accounts payable list is, if I pay a bill, you said Baxter Woodman. Baxter Woodman was sent in a statement, might be 4 or 5 pages. Now, I'm gonna say this, and you take it however you choose. I'm not gonna put 4 or 5 pages of one invoice on accounts payable, because what happened is, like Trustee Grant said, it would be 10 pages. Then we'd be here all night talking about, well, Baxter Woodman did something on 211th Street, Baxter Woodman did something on 205th Street. Those invoices are itemized, yes, they come into this village itemized, are signed off first by the department head. So what I'm gonna suggest, and I said this before, if there's an issue with Baxter Woodman, for example, that department head who has a budget that has been given to him previously, and as I would do in the next summer budget, if he signs off on it, that's the person you should ask, what is this invoice for? Because my job is, once I get the invoice and it is signed, is to provide that information, dollar amount, with a brief description of what it is. It's not for me to challenge that department head, because that's his responsibility. What I will say that has not happened in respect to accounts payable, we are not challenging the department heads with respect to the invoice about the test. Chief White signed that invoice. So that's a question that Chief White should know what he sent out for service. Because what you cannot do is tell somebody, you don't provide me the service, Sauk Village, but yet I'm not gonna pay you for it. You can hold their check for a while, but you can't go back and say, I'm not gonna pay you because I don't like what you said. For instance, that attorney that was here tonight, he's gonna send a bill in a couple weeks. It's gonna have tonight activity, He's gonna have the activity you guys met with and file another meeting on one invoice. But what you said, Trustee Brewer, you want me to break it out 521.
That's not what I'm saying.
Well, when you say itemize means detailed individualization.
That's right,
But you can't have it both ways. You can't say itemize on accounts payable list. It's different from.
I didn't say on accounts payable, I said invoices. I do believe I've been saying invoices since I've been up here. I need the invoices to be itemized.
But Trustee Grants, those invoices, I'm gonna get all of them.
Okay.
If you residents need me to prove it to you, I'm gonna get any invoice you want
And
out of my
bring those
office.
back that say professional service on there and tell me how those.
Those invoices are even itemized.
Okay, all right.
Now, if it's an issue with 2 or 3 vendors, again, if it's related to a few vendors, that's an issue that I mentioned last week. Address that with the department heads that sign that invoice. Baxter Woodman, that's your public works director. Ask him, what is this coming out of TIF? He signs for it. I don't sign for that. So I think the conversation about accounts payable is getting distorted because at the end of the day, I feel all you need to pay for service that have already been rendered. Because again, as I showed you guys a couple months ago, maybe 3-4 years ago, you had over $1 million in accounts payable that was not paid for. So if we go down this path of detailing every single accounts payable list, eventually you're gonna be 50, 60, 90 days past due, and then what's gonna happen, these vendors are gonna cut off services, you're gonna have to go to somebody else, and they're gonna charge you extra fees. I'll give you a prime example. We have a pest control company in the village. Their bill is not late, but every month they charge a $20, $25 fee just to provide that service. Imagine what they're gonna charge if we're 90 days past due. That's the kind of stuff I'm saying. With all this fighting and everything that's going on, I personally, professionally, I think it's nonsense. Improve the process. I did change the accounts payable list because, and you mentioned about the general ledger, the digit that's on the accounts payable.
Line numbers.
The line numbers. Again, not to put anybody on the spot. It does not mean anything if you do not understand what it means from an accounting point of view. I could put 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I could put 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and give it to you, and you have no clue what it means. It has been stated with respect to the audit. No one looks at the audit. So what sense does it make for me to give you an accounting number that you guys have said you have not related back to the audit? All these numbers, account numbers tie back to some financial information. So that's all I'm saying. You're asking for information that I think really complicates the process of paying the bill. If it's something you have discrepancy, take it off the list. Wait 2 more weeks and then decide then. But those invoices are in my office. I sent you guys, excuse me for my voice, I still got bronchitis. I sent you guys an email today and I said, here's the preliminary accounts payable for next week. Invoices are in Shanice's office. If they're not in Shanice's office, they're in the mayor's office. So again, you have from now until next week to look at all the itemized invoices. At that point, you come in Monday and say, hey, I don't like Baxter Woodman, tell me. I'll take it off the list. Then you put it on 2 more weeks. But I'm just saying, we wait till Tuesday, 7 o'clock to complain about invoicing. It's a disservice to my department, and it's a disservice to the resident because it's something that can be looked at earlier. So that's all I want to say about the accounts payable list, because I think we're just spinning our wheels and getting nowhere with improving the process.
Well, what I want to do is reinstate what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the accounts payable. I'm talking about the invoices that we receive here in the village from vendors that give us information. Before those invoices are put on the accounts payable, they should have an itemized list of what
I'm saying they do.
Wait a minute now. I mean, some of them say professional services.
Which one?
Wait a
Dr.
minute,
Strotter,
wait a minute,
the
wait a
lab
minute.
group, those are you referring?
Okay.
I'm saying, you keep saying professional service, those are.
And Mr. Finch, as
Pick
much
one.
as I like to talk, let me explain this to you. When we get invoices, it's standard procedures. Whenever you make a bill, to make an itemized list.
Correct.
Put that before. I'm not asking you for all those 50 pages. That's fine if you give me one, the total at the bottom. It does not matter, because it's all we do anyway. We don't even see the invoices unless you go in there and look for them. I'm just saying, when a vendor submit an invoice, it should have what it's for. line by line, what the invoice is for. Simple, does it every day, and there's nothing that, you know, that's not normal, outside of the normal range of business.
Right,
So,
right.
there's not anything, it's open and transparent. There's nothing, anything that we can't do. The information is there, you know. Why can't we get these vendors to let us know why they want this money?
And I'm saying it's there. If
Okay,
there's
and
3 or
I'm
4,
saying-
5, 6 that you
Okay, we're gonna.
Okay, I'm gonna prove it to you tonight when we leave. I'm gonna get those invoices, and I'm gonna let you go through all of them. That's on the accounts payable list as of tonight.
Standard practice, okay.
They come in all like that, from ComEd to the pest
Okay,
control.
right, I mean, but, okay, well, we in agreement then, so.
Yes.
So all we need is the invoice, and if we go back in the back, it shows us itemized with there. When you get the accounts payable, it's gonna say, okay, this is ready for payment, because I know what we're paying for.
Okay, fair enough.
You know, so that's the only thing I'm asking. That's no more than reasonable for people who pay their bills every day, their household bills, and you can't ask us to pay a $30,000 or $40,000 bill and we don't know what it's for.
Okay.
You know, so I don't think that's no more than reasonable. You know,
They're available.
okay.
Right. Trustee Brooke, I have another question. Can I ask, who put this together, and did the Ordinance Review Committee see this?
What are you talking about?
The ordinance relating to the rights of officials and the public information. Who put it together, and did this go before the Ordinance Review Committee?
Oh, I'm gonna take credit for this one.
So you did this yourself?
Yeah, it took me, what?
Oh, you're a lawyer.
Yeah.
And a
No,
trustee.
I worked on that one. And that's why it's sent to the review committee, the ordinance review committee, and then it's sent to the attorneys.
So when would this go to
I'm
the?
sorry, I should have put draft on the top. I didn't put draft on the top.
So
I did forget
when would
something.
this go to the Ordinance Review Committee? Because it went to us first. It should go to us after it goes to the Ordinance Review Committee.
No, this goes to the ordinance review committee.
So it's not.
And then what Todd does with it, she'll probably bring it back to the board.
So
Yeah.
this is not for us right now because it has to go to the trustee Todd first.
Now, this is just giving you information about what she's gonna work on.
And you good with that? You know that? Okay. And then another question for the other document you gave us, the RFQ.
RFP? Oh, RFQ.
It says RFQ up here. So I understand everything that you pretty much asking for. Briefly, I just quickly glanced at it. But still, I want to know what is the scope? What are they looking for? Like, so when we come back with these, pretty much these requests for qualifications, what are we telling them that they're looking to look into?
Okay, now,
Excuse me, point of order, are we jumping from one item on the agenda to another? 'Cause
She passed it out right now.
I mean,
She just passed it out.
that's number 6.
She just passed it out.
RFPs. I understand, but that's number 6 on the agenda.
Okay,
We should
we
let
can wait.
Mr. Finch get to his number 4 before we go to number 6.
I'll withdraw
If
my
number 3 is done.
We done?
If number 3 is
Are
done.
you done with number 3?
yes,
And number 4, proposed water bills?
All right. A few months ago, we had the gentleman from Civics come in and give, unfortunately, the new trustees might not have seen it, but I'm pretty sure you guys are in the audience, a template of the proposed water bill that I think would be beneficial to Sauk Village. What I'm suggesting is, right now, as you guys know, Sauk Village get billed every other month. 1 month, North Side get billed, following month, South Side get billed, and then in between that, you have shut-off notice and whatnot. One of the things that I try to do is be cost conscious as far as what we spending our money on. And in the process of doing the bills now, as you guys know, it's an index size of an index card. So we have a staff that literally have to sit and rip those index card apart and then put them in a binder and whatnot and take it over to the post office. To me, that's a lot of waste of time and a lot of waste of productivity. So not only that, they get lost from a lot of the residents because the cards are so small. So with the going to the letter size water bill, it does 2 things. One, all you have to do is pretty much upload the bills to the vendor, and they take care of it as far as stuffing it in the envelope and mailing it out to the residents. 2, it makes the water bill definitely be able to get to the resident home, because you don't have to worry about taking the water bill over to the post office or anything like that. And then more importantly, I think it allowed for more efficiency for the staff to be able to do something as far as helping the residents as they come to the front counter. And the cost for this size village is around $300 to $400 a month to do that particular service. I know people are going to say, well, you're spending more money on postage. In actuality, you're not spending more money on postage because you're doing it as a bulk and you get a discount by going through the fulfillment center, which, as you guys know, fulfillment center do everything in volume. And once you have volume, you get a bigger price spread. But the biggest advantage, because it's something I used in Linwood and I've used when I was in Markham, as far as advertising, I know you guys have a Sauk newsletter or something like that. You can put advertising in the water bill and up to three front and back letters. So that's something you can add in addition to the water bill. So if there's information, as you were saying, Trustee William, when you get ready to do the Labor Day parade, you can start putting that in the water bill in June, July. That's something, that kind of information you cannot put on a postcard. The other thing, I think it will help the residents out because now, for instance, I think the average water bill is around $140, $150 like that for every 2 months. That bill would be cut in half. Your guys would be cut in half. Of course, your monthly water consumption would be cut in half. So for me personally, all my bills in my house, I pay half, whatever. I think that's more manageable, which on the front end, it keeps the residents from getting too far behind, which allow us not having to go out and cut people off, which, as you guys alluded to before, that's something that has not happened in the past consistently. So it just overall make a better relationship with the resident and the village, because now it's more efficient internally, and then the resident can be looking for an envelope. The other proposed change that I want to add to the water bill is I want you guys to pick a date, a due date. So let's say the 15th of the month. That way, be consistent. Every month, residents know their bill is due on the 15th, let's say. Then the shut-off date could be 30 days from the 15th. So you do the 15th of this month, your shut-off will be the 21st of the next month. I believe that's ample time. That's almost 60 days for you to get your bill and pay before you get a shut-off notice. Again, by the bill being cut in half, it will allow more residents, financial reason, to come in and pay their water bill on time. And then, like I said, there's advertising and all kind of other stuff you can add to the water bill. Any questions?
I just wanted to know if we were going to add a page, what's the cost of the add a page? Are they doing the printing? Are we doing the printing?
No. The way it operates, once, and it takes like 60 days, that's why I want to do this. Because as you guys know, when I first mentioned this, actually I mentioned this to the mayor last year before I even came on board, they do a template. So how you guys want to do the template, design it, put information. So like for instance, with Linwood, on the back of our water bill, it shows potential ways you can have leakage or high water bill. So it shows a picture of a toilet, outside faucet run, and stuff like that. Just additional information. But once you do the template, all you have to do is upload your bill. There's a box about 2 inches on the front of the water bill that you can add information, go into the website, add information. Like for this month in May, we put Happy Mother's Day, Happy Prom to all those people. So it's like 4 or 5 cents that you can add that does not cost anything. Now when you add an extra, and I might have it incorrectly right now, but you add an extra page, I want to say it's like 2 or 3 cents for an additional page. It's not that expensive.
Okay.
So it's very affordable.
Thank you.
I got a question. Mr. Finch, I think we talked about this before. Did you come up with anything on how we're going to address the landlord-tenant situation? That's a big problem there.
Too.
Huh?
I said that's a good thing using this we go to this letter. With the letter, and I'm going to get back to your question in a minute. Let's say a landlord, an investor has 10 properties, but they all go to his, let's say, home address. What this company would do, they put those bills to those 10 properties, let's say 5, that's about 10 to me. Those 5 water bills in one envelope and send it to that landlord directly. That's saving on the postage. Now, that's a decision. I personally think the tenant and the landlord should get a water bill. I think the landlord should be responsible for the water bill, but I still think it should go to the house that's in Sauk Village and wherever the landlord is located. And then that way nobody can say, I didn't know my bill, which we have, landlords coming in now not knowing that their bill hasn't been paid for months.
Mr. Finch, you I guess maybe I must have heard this one back. You said that we are not gonna get shut off notices anymore?
Personally, I would say why spend that extra cost? Because by the time you see, if we send out the bill around the first of the month, and it's behavior changing, and you know your bill due the 15th. You have from the 15th of May, let's say, to June 21st before you get before your water's turned off. So I'm giving you all of May and 21 days in June. That's a lot of time to say I didn't know my water bill was due, because I know like NICOR ain't constantly sending me a reminder notice. I just come home one day and got gas.
Okay, Mr. Finch, did you address how Public Works cut off, I mean, suppose they don't pay their bills, okay? So, at what point, after their 15 days or something, do they cut off water? You just said they don't cut
No,
off
so
water.
it's due, let's say May 15th, it's due May 15th. On June 21st, that's when we start doing shut-off.
On June, that's a whole month away?
It's a whole month away, that's why we don't need to do a shut-off notice.
Okay.
So what will happen, that morning of June 21st, Cynthia, I'm telling Cynthia, will see who all has not paid. At that point in time, she'll get that report to the Public Works Director, and let him cut off that Monday, let's say Monday and Tuesday. Because really, if you do this process right, you shouldn't be spending all week cutting off water.
Yeah.
And then once people get in the habit of paying, they know, okay, I got on the 15th, but I still have the 21st following month to do it. And then you provide online payment, Dropbox payment, this long-term, ACS payment with the bank, like what we have, is whatever your bill is, we go into your account on the 15th, take the money out, you're done. So once you offer them different options to pay their bill then the shut-off list gets smaller and smaller.
Okay, and how do you handle rehab water?
That's the process we're trying to work out. My suggestion is, because of the problems I've seen with rehab water, don't do rehab water, give them a meter. The reason I say give them a meter, because even though I've done rehab, so I'm not against anybody's rehab. I've done rehab in 2006, 2007. If I go in a rehab and I say I'm gonna do it for a couple days, somebody logistically has to remember to write it down that 7 days from now, I need to send somebody out there to cut it off. But if I make the investor put a $250 deposit, even if I forget to write it down, he'll come back and remind me until he wants his money. So my suggestion is to do a meter, whatever the meter is, when the Public Works go out there, they do a final read like they do anybody selling the house. They get the final read, this your bill, whatever the difference is, we take that final read, take it away from the 250 and see your remaining balance. But the new tenant don't have to come in and get another meter, it's already set up. And plus it allows us to make sure that they got occupancy. Because a lot of times, they move tenants in and out and the house never get inspected.
Okay, but Mr. Finch, suppose in the cases where you have residents who like pay partial, you know, you have a balance.
The payment plan?
Oh, so we got a payment plan
Yes,
that we're
we
gonna
started
work
that
out?
probably 3 weeks after I got here.
Okay, so that's still gonna be in effect, the payment?
Yes.
There's nothing changed about that?
No, it's a payment plan, but this is how it works. Well, the max you can have a payment plan is 4 months. But if the water turned off, you have to pay that $100 activation fee. Then, what I do, I let the resident tell me what they can afford over the next 4 months. With the understanding, if they don't pay it, I will cut them back off.
Okay.
And I won't put them on the payment plan a second time.
No second chance?
If you're telling me what you can pay, your bill $200, and you say you do $100 a month, then that's you. Because I don't give them what they should pay. I let them, because I don't let people count my money, I ain't counting nobody else's money.
Well, yeah, Mr. Finch, since we have so many accounts that have not been paid, and you know we owe a lot of money, how are you going to handle the monies that's already on the books, accounts receivables where residents haven't paid? What are you going to do? What are we going to do about trying to recoup some of that money?
We have 2 processes in place now. One, back in February when I got here, we made a major push to cut off a lot on the north side. We're about to do that process again in July. The reason we didn't hit the south side was because one of the main issues with the water bill was the iTron meters. There's a technology issue with the reading and how it's coming to our software. So the plan was, let's get north side perfected before we worry about the south side. Because I don't believe in trying to have two problems going on at the same time, because then you get all confused. So once we do north side get in July, no, I'm talking June, we're gonna come back and do the south side in July. With this water bill process, that won't get up and running probably now until like August or September. So if I hit you in June shut off, July shut off, and August shut off aggressively, by the time September comes, most people won't be on the shut off list. And then you'll be in half the bill. And then plus the other part of that too, we'll be getting out of the summer, so bills should be going down anyway.
That would be interesting.
And then for those that are vacant properties, we put liens on it, and then with Joe Vizwadi, we have a program with co-chaps where we're getting in touch with the bank and making the bank pay the water bills.
Oh, okay.
So the money will be going after it one way or the other.
Another question. Debbie, Trustee Williams, you asked a question about the sheet. I think I wrote it down. I asked the same question last time when they were here. It's 3.9 cents for that second sheet.
For the second sheet is 3.9?
Question or recommendation, if we go with this new process, I know a lot of the residents don't know that we can't pay the water bill online, so I would promote that as well, just as if we have the space for it, just for a few months. I mean, that's just a suggestion. I know it's an extra fee, but just a lot of residents don't know about it.
Something to put it on the water bill?
I mean, just a recommendation. If the board thinks it's a good idea, I just think that we should promote it. We have it, so just why not use it if the residents want to? It's just a service that we offer for the residents.
You can put it whatever you want on the water bill, and I don't know if you have still a copy of it, but it's very colorful. It's colorful. And then what it does too, it shows you previous, well, you can go back as far as you want to. What I typically do is just go back a month. So you show the previous month usage, you show the current month usage. So even when the residents get it and they see the bar graph go up a lot, it'll trigger them to say, man, my water usage is a lot higher than what the previous month. That should trigger a call to have somebody come out and look at their meter. And again, like I said, with those little symbols on the back, see if your toilet leaking. Because a lot of people going passing back to the bathroom, they don't hear the water running. But if they see that bill jump up, they might think to stop and go check the water. Do a little diet and see if it's leaking.
And then my last question, I guess, concern is, so there's always going to be a certain number of residents who come in who receive their bill and they probably paid it by the time they get that next notice, next bill saying your bill is due. So how are we going to handle those? Right, so there's no more shut-off notices, but let's say that they pay their bill, but we already mailed them out their second bill saying, okay, this one's done. I mean, this one needs to be paid. Now you have a new one in.
So the 15th passed, and it's the 7th of June. Now your new bill went out because it's due by the 1st.
Right.
We know when you come in and pay on the 7th of June, when Cynthia runs that report, she's running it for May activity. All bills that were due as of May 15th. So on the 21st, if you haven't paid for the May bill, she could run that. It'd be totally separate. You understand what we're doing now?
Mr. Mayor, are we going to have this on the agenda next week? Is that what we're trying to do?
Well,
that's what I would like. Yes.
Okay, but I was going to ask, are you asking to go to the 1 month billing?
I'm asking to go to the 1 month billing with anticipation it probably won't launch to September.
Okay. So in other words, go to the 1 month billing, because it will take a few months to get everything organized.
Right.
But we will send out, if this is approved, we will send out notification to each and every resident that has a water bill.
Yes.
To let them know.
And the process will stay the same.
We're not going to take questions right now. We're not going to take questions until the questions are asked.
Mr. Fish, does everybody have a water meter now?
No.
Okay, now how are you gonna,
They don't have a water meter, they don't pay a water bill.
is there a flat rate that,
For sewer usage?
I mean, yeah, so, and what's the age of the water meters? I understand a couple of years ago, we were supposed to get, everybody's supposed to get a new water meter, but I don't know how old some of those things
You're asking a
are.
lot of questions I got answers to.
Okay, wait a minute. The reason I'm asking this because great ideas for the water billing, but if you get a water meter that's old, it's not giving you an accurate reading, we need to look into that. We don't have any money for water meters, but you know what I mean?
Trustee, we were trying to secure a grant so that the village could provide new water meters and different type of water meters that could be read differently. That was something that was being worked on. I forgot, I think it was almost $2 million grant. We had to pay a certain amount of it for the water meters and for some other work that needs to be done in conjunction with the TIF. So right now, that's on hold until such time that we can get that started back again, but that was in the process. And with that money, new water meters are going to be provided. We were going to actually buy new water meters because some of the water meters that we have, if your water meter is over 25 years old, and I don't think none of yet got to that point, but it's getting close, the battery expectancy to some of those water meters may be suspect. So that's why we have to update and upgrade, and that's why the grant was being sought after to get that done. So
It's in the works, in other words. That's what
well,
you're saying.
it was in the works, but the people that were doing the works are not working here no more. Oh.
Mr. Mayor, the reason I asked if it's going to be on the next agenda is because I want to know if the fact that you mentioned the landlord would get all of his tenants' bills in one envelope and the tenant would still receive their own bill, correct? Is that going to be in the proposal?
That's my recommendation.
That's what he's working on.
Right. I think it's a great idea. I just wanted to make mention of that again. Is that going to be part of your proposal? Because I think part of the problem is landlords don't know that their tenants aren't paying the bill.
Yes, that's
And if they can get all their tenants in one envelope and then we can still bill the tenant, I think it's a great idea. So I was wondering if that was part of your proposal for next week.
It is. I just don't think the ordinance says, I think the ordinance just goes to the landlord right now.
Okay.
But I think it should be both. And when they do the water meter, I think both should sign off on it.
Okay. So what you want to put on the agenda for next week is moving forward with monthly water billing and water billing to be done monthly and also mailed in a sheet,
Yeah,
in paper form.
right, and the water bill to be mailed to the tenant and the landlord.
And the landlord. Okay.
So two parts.
But you're going to be presenting some type of contract or something to show who's doing that and at what cost, right? I mean, we're discussing it now, but is it going to be like, is there a contracted firm that's going to be doing
For the
this?
fulfillment center, what I mean for fulfillment, the
Yes.
fulfillment,
Yes.
I can get it again, but he came in, he presented a month
Right,
ago.
but I mean, you're going to represent it in our packet. We've got your
Yeah,
board
yeah.
members here. We didn't see. I do know that you presented it before, but
Yes.
we were there. Not
Yes,
here.
you have it.
So if you could just include that in the packet, I really would appreciate it. Thank you.
And a sample of how.
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Finch, I got one more question. Did I hear you correctly? You said that we will get a monthly, account-wise, a monthly total of how much revenue we have gotten in for water bill, what goes to sewer, what goes to the water. Are we gonna get that kind of information like we were getting, billing usage?
That's separate of the water bill, but yes.
Okay.
Once, the challenge is not getting the information. The challenge is, like I said before, is when I provide it to you, that it makes sense. It doesn't make sense to say we use 500 million gallons of water. That doesn't say nothing about numbers.
Right.
So I need to be able to show you how it's quantified into numbers and then show you where the numbers are going. Because if we get $1 million in water, that don't mean we got $1 million in water to use. There's things related to that, i.e. this water bill. That's going to come out of the water.
Oh, I agree with you. We should know what, transparency is the
Yes.
thing right now. And my last question is that since we're gonna get, once we straighten it out, a report every month that shows the revenue that we got in, dividing everything. Now, the young ladies who do the water billing now, she's gonna be doing reconciliations. Is that what she does? Or who does
The way
that?
it works, you shouldn't have to do a reconciliation, because whereas the revenue comes in, as the water bill producer, the system will say how much to produce. As the revenue comes in, it's gonna say this is what we collected.
Okay.
We sent out $1,000 for water to be collected, and only got $200.
Sounds right. Yeah, okay.
So, any other questions? Okay, I guess the next item, review for code for access to premises.
And this one kind of go back to your question, Trustee Brewer, with respect to the old meters. About a week ago, I had the staff send out a letter to, I want to say maybe 60, if not more, homes that had estimated readings to let the Public Works get in and check those meters. Because as you guys know, we have over 800 estimated readings, not including businesses. So far this week, that process is going well. People are calling and setting appointments to do that. So the plan is, as Public Works go out and look at these meters, they say they are. They bring in a new meter with them, just in case they have to replace the old one that's inside. With that process, the estimated reading numbers should start going down. But this is an ordinance that's already on the books, so I know some people are concerned that we weren't allowed to do that, but it's, at the end of the day, it's village equipment. It doesn't necessarily matter where it's located. Any questions? Yes, ma'am. So the reason I sent the letter out, and the reason I'm talking about it tonight is people was concerned about Public Works going on their property and reading meters, going on their properties to read their meters. But the ordinance allows us to be able to do that. So it's not that we're trying to infringe on anybody or get into their privacy or anything like that. It's because you have estimated reading. And one of the things that I've noticed in some of these bills, sometimes one month you might get an estimated reading, then the next month it's skyrocketing and you got a $400 or $500 bill. So hopefully this process would allow us to even that out. Because at the end of the day, like I said, I like to try to make things simple and efficient. So this ordinance allows us to start that process. And again, it's not to infringe on anybody or intrude or anything like that, but it was brought to our attention that people's residents was concerned about it. So that's it. Any questions?
I just wanted to thank you for explaining it and showing the ordinance, because I was one of the people that came to you and said there was a resident concern. You immediately addressed the situation and provided a copy of the ordinance, and I appreciate you doing that. I know you have very limited time here, but you did address that resident's concern immediately, and I want to thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Finch. The next item, reconsideration of an ordinance to approve the 2019-2020 compensation plans for village employees. Trustee Todd.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At this time, when I did the reconsideration of this ordinance, we don't even have a budget yet. I think this item or this ordinance needs to be tabled till after we go through budget hearings. One of the things, though, I had noticed, and what was concerning is that when the ordinance was first presented to us 2 weeks ago, and we went through it, when we got the ordinance at the board meeting to be voted on, I saw that there was a couple of things that were added. So the concerning part is, and this is not an ordinance that came before the ordinance review, that on the original one that was given to us to review, it did not have fire department administrator. On the one that wanted to be voted on, it now has the fire department administrator for $42,000. And I know that it was addressed last week that Trustee Grant, when it came to the administrative assistant to the mayor, the original one said $9,600, the second one said $25,000. So I want this ordinance tabled until after budget. We could go through and see what we're working with.
Trustee Todd, when this was created, I believe the mayor said this will be the baseline for the budget. So I think that we should use this as the guiding tool for the budget and not do the budget first, then look at this. Because I think the way he suggested is that these would be the salaries that will go into the budget when the budget is created.
Well, the concerning part too with this is that the original ordinance said one thing, and now we get a different ordinance to vote on, and stuff had been added. So that means that somebody went in and added stuff to this and did not bring it to our attention. We actually had to go through it and look at it. I want this table till after the budget. And that ends mine.
On the very first page of the ordinance, it does say, whereas it is in the village's best interest to adopt the plan attached hereto as Exhibit A and authorize the mayor to grant salaries for the employment positions listed on the plan for the fiscal year 2019-2020, and then on the actual page where the salaries are listed, it appears to be that those are going to be the salaries. I agree with Trustee Todd. I think we should table this for more clarification until budget time. We've got this. We see what the salary ranges are, but if you read the ordinance different ways, it looks as if it's approving those salaries. In my opinion, I see we have a guideline to work with at the budget time, but I'm not in favor of approving this at this time.
Mr. Mayor, the item that we're discussing says compensation plan. Now, this is a list of salaries. It has, when you have a plan, it generally describes what the plan is about, how long the plans are going to last, duration, and all that sort of stuff. With this compensation plan, I don't know why it's necessary, because every year we're supposed to post salaries and say how much they are annually. So to have this, I don't understand why this has to be included separately for the 2019-2020 plan. In addition, the information that we get from the union said this is under union negotiation. The plan that was submitted doesn't have enough information for us to make an informed decision. It's not a plan. It seems like what you gave us is a salary schedule. It can be changed at any time. So I'm just saying this does need to be tabled because we're not getting the information that we need in order to make an informed decision.
Okay, salary is compensation. However, it was just a guideline to let you know when you go in the budget what your salaries are that you can, and as far as what you saw for the union positions that haven't been settled yet, that's why there was nothing on there, because we don't know what that's going to be until we come out of negotiations with that. Right now, that's in negotiation. Again, that's going to be tabled. It's going to be held back for another, who knows how long, until that goes back up again, because right now the person that was doing negotiations is not here right now. So, but it's not a cut in stone. I mentioned that last week. I'll mention it again this week. It's not a cut in stone. It's not saying that this is what the salaries are. This is what the salaries are right now, except for two, or except for the one. That was just a base for the administrative assistant. Administrative assistant is $9,600. That's what the administrative assistant is getting paid, $9,600, $9,000 a year. So, but the going rate for that was 27. That's what that was. So that's not, but this was something to give the board an idea of what the salaries are right now. So when we do go into that, you can kind of see what they're getting now. And if they, and also they're going to ask you for other things that they want in their each and every department. They're going to want this, this, and this. But right now you can kind of get an idea of what their salaries are. If you want to do the math, how many people that they have and what it is. But every year, yes, we do post salaries. Matter of fact, I think they're sitting in the glass cabinet right there of how much a person is getting paid, each position is getting paid from the village. Now, quite naturally, over time, those that get it is not posted because you don't know what that is, but their base salaries are posted. So if this wants to be tabled, I have no problem with that. And,
now, Mr. Mayor, I just want to say this, because you say this is what we're looking at for budget time, but we've never had an ordinance on it. Why does it have to be in an ordinance form and you just not give us a list?
It used to be, trustee, years ago, it never, as I said before.
I went back far.
At the beginning, it was in 2008 and 2007. I do remember that. That's the last time I have actually seen an ordinance or compensation plan. Ever since then, no, I didn't. And I said that I think it was last week or whenever it was we talked about this. I said then that this is something that we haven't done in a while, something that we should incorporate. I didn't say that we've done it in a while. It's been, like I said, 2008, it was under Peckham. I know that's for sure. It was under Roger Peckham that they had something like this. And all I was doing was saying we should bring that back. But that's, if you want to table this, that's not a problem. We can table it and move forward. Okay. I guess Trustee Brewer, you gave out all your information for.
No, I just want to add a few.
No, we have to, so we're just gonna table it, right? I just wanna make sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Till after budget, I just wanna make sure.
Well, we're gonna table it. I don't know.
Okay.
Why would you want it after budget?
I think, because that's what she originally said.
I mean, if you want it after budget, I mean, why would that make
So we're just
it wouldn't make
We're just gonna
sense?
table it.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, so you said you had something else?
I had a few more things I wanted to address with the forensic audit and why is it so important. You know, during the last administration when the other trustees were here, they just followed and stepped behind the mayor. If he wanted to move money, they did. Trustees had no control over whether money was moved to or not. That is not what trustees are supposed to do. We are supposed to watch the money and we're supposed to vote money in and out. Increase and decrease employees while they were in office. The mayor does not have that authority to do that. They have to have a hearing. You have to let us know what you're doing. None of that was done. And I understand that Finch is not comfortable with the reports, but you got to understand, we're not comfortable with not getting anything. One issue that I have with the previous administration is they sit up here all this time, didn't ask a question, didn't know anything that was going on, didn't say a word about anything. At least I'm asking questions. I might not be right, but I am for real. Secondly, is that there's one ordinance, and I don't have the ordinance number, that the mayor, the finance director, and the treasurer took the powers away from the trustees. This had to do with the TIF. You cannot take the powers of the trustees away. That's our job, to watch the money and tell when the money in and out. That's a big issue. That's illegal. So with the forensic audit, we have Mohan coming on board. He's been fired because he said he did whatever. Okay? Where's the proof? We have Sutton here who she could not explain operational transfers. You know, and you ask her for reports like that. It's just like she didn't even know what a report was. You had Regal who was there, and we know there was a felony conviction on him. And then we have Finch who came in here and said, we're $2 million in the hole. And nobody wants to know what they're telling us, that we don't need to know where our money is. Something's wrong with that picture. Okay? If somebody could tell you we're $2 million in the hole, we need to know where that money is. You know, the $250,000 that was taken from the water fund to the TIF, trustees didn't do that. The mayor moved that money. The mayor does not have the authority to move any money. That's the trustee's job. Money has been moved around here. Trustees have no idea what's going on. You tell me why the rest of the trustees are here if the mayor can do whatever he wants whenever he wants to do it. We need to be held accountable for what we're doing. We need reports to explain to people why we need this RFP, because we need to know what that $2 million is. We might be in worse shape than $2 million. I'm suspecting that's the case. Because this is a 20-year problem that's coming and starting to unravel. We're not saying anybody did anything. We just want to know what the status of right now. So we go out there and tell residents, well, you can't get that. You can't get this. And for me to sit here every day and tell you guys, well, okay, we got fire hydrant on your block that's not working, but yet we ain't got no money to fix it. Something's wrong with that. You pay tax dollars, you should get your goods and services for what you pay for. We not get any of that stuff because we don't get any reports. So that's why we need a forensic audit.
Trustee Brewer.
Yes.
So the $2 million, I mean, so the finance director said we're $2 million in the hole. However, I just want to clarify, I think I clarified this before, that's not all from one single year or just this administration. So that $2 million, goes back, I think, at least 5 to 7 years. I think he mentioned 2014.
No.
But Trustee Brooks, let me finish. So, and I think I explained this before. Let's just say 4 years ago, we we're $100 in the hole. 3 years ago, we were $200 in the hole. Now, we're $300 in the hole because you still have to add those 2 years together. And then you continue on. So, again, in prior years, we've been spending more money than we've brought in. Expenses outpace our revenues. So that's a continuous problem. The $2 million is from years of spending more than we've brought in. And that $2 million hole, honestly, cannot be fixed in 1 year. That's going to take some years to get out of. So I don't want you to think it's going to be a quick fix to recover $2 million. I just want to point that out. And also...
Okay, I'm sorry, go
Oh,
ahead.
that's fine. And when it comes to moving money back and forth, in the budget, we are allowed to move money back and forth. For example, you mentioned earlier about MFT. If we are able to fix streets that we have MFT funds for, correct, we do transfer money from MFT to the general fund because the bills come out of the general fund. Right, so we move money from water fund to pay water expenses, or MFT money to pay anything MFT repairs and things of that nature. So yes, we are allowed to move money from those funds to the general fund because that's where all of our bills come out of.
Okay.
Just want to point that out.
Well, let me point this out to you. We're $10 million in the hole.
Wait, no.
Wait, hold on a minute now. Let me say
$8 million more on the hole.
Yeah, you said you were finished. That's what you said.
No, I didn't say that.
You didn't say it?
I know I did not say $10 million. I said $2 million.
Yeah, you didn't let me finish my statement, and then I'm gonna explain to you why I came over 10 million. Okay? Now I have documents for when Mohan was on board that shows that we're $10 million in the hole. Every year we add up $2 or $3 million that we have not paid, and over the course of the years it added up to $10 million. Simple as that. Now it is the jobs of the trustees to move money. The mayor shouldn't have any input whatsoever about money, but the mayor has taken upon himself to move our money. That's the trustees' job, to move money. Why do you think the finance director, the treasurer, sends us a letter and asks us to move money? That's what we're supposed to do. The money is not supposed to just be moved because they feel like it. Trustees need to know where the money is.
Okay.
And that's what trustees do.
Okay.
And I'm going by old documents that Mohan got before he left, and he told me over the course of years, I think this has been about 10 years or 8 years, the combination of we are $10 million in the hole. This is the water fund. I'm only talking about the water fund. It hasn't been paid back in 10 years, and therefore we owe $10 million.
Okay, so I think that you're talking about one fund. I think you're mixing the funds up. So I just want to clarify. So the $2 million that you mentioned, that the finance director mentioned that we're in a hole, is out of the general fund. The general fund is a separate fund from the water fund.
Yes.
2 different funds.
Yeah.
So the general fund, again, is years of outspending, spending more than we've taken in. And that was based, and that number, that $2 million number, we just got the audit, a month and a half ago, and that's in the audit. You can look at it, it says $2 million. That's it. The $10 million in the water fund, I cannot verify that's true or not. And you said old documents, so I wouldn't trust it because it's old documents. But as far as paying the water fund back, I think that if I'm not mistaken, the mayor can clarify, technically, I guess you should, in good faith, pay the water fund back within a fiscal year, in good faith.
By ordinance, it says that.
Yes.
However, has that always happened? I don't think so, but have we ever made expenses back to the payments back to the water fund? I think that's happened as well. So that $10 million over the course of, those 10, 15, whatever those years are, that's, if we can't account for what we didn't do 10 years ago, right? So we can only account for what we do right now. So going forward, in good faith, we can make sure that that happens to the best of our abilities. However, we also have to make sure that we have the money in the general fund to pay the water fund back. Because our general fund, again, is where all of our bills come out of. And if we have a zero balance in our general fund, we can't pay our water fund back. It just doesn't make sense.
Trustee Grant, I agree with you wholeheartedly, but we have been talking about this for the longest, and for the last 20 years, we know we use the water fund for the day-to-day operation. It is simple as that. The goal right now is to let residents know that we're not doing a good job of paying the money back. We can't get any infrastructure improvement unless we have some money. And residents are paying all this money for infrastructure repair and replacement, but yet the money is being used for something else. That's the bottom line. Okay, my position is that if we pay for water, we should be using for water fund and infrastructure improvement.
Mr. Mayor.
Okay, so for us to keep going back and forth about the finance, that's another reason why we need a forensic audit, because we don't know who was paid what, what's here, what's there. All these people have been dipping into that fund. We don't know what's going on with it. And there's no reason for you to try to convince me that it isn't. I've been up here been in a village for 20 years. We always been broke. We always use the water fund for
Point of order.
and everything. And then not only that, the $2 million, Finch said that himself.
Point of order.
We short in the general fund.
What's
Pardon me.
the point of?
Point of order is we've already discussed the need for the forensic audit in a special meeting, and that's already been approved. We need to move on. What we actually have on this item right here in this agenda is the RFP, and we're not even really focusing on the RFP. And that's what this item is. We've already discussed the need, and I think the residents hopefully understand now why there's more questions than answers, and there's much confusion about the finances, and hopefully you'll understand what the need for, and I'm going to say it again, do I think it stops at 2 years? No. Can we afford more? No. But if we peel the onion and we find that we need to go back, we will. But at this point in the agenda, we're supposed to be talking about the RFP, and my comment about the RFP is if you look at the deadline for submission is Sunday, June 2nd. It says the board may then request to meet with select firms to discuss their proposals in more detail. The board intends to vote on the successful proposal. That should say the board intends to review the proposals at the June 4th board committee meeting for possibly to approve at the June 11th meeting. So this is incorrect here. We can't get the submissions by June 2nd and vote on it on June 4th. We would be discussing as a committee on June 4th. So I just wanted to make mention of that.
That was going to be my question when the debate stopped. I was going to ask, why is it you only asking for a week to go out?
It's 10 days.
You're only asking for 10 days to go out and look for an RFQ? For a request for qualifications from whoever, unless you have somebody already in mind? That's not enough time for our RFQ. 10 days is not enough time.
We can always expend it. If we don't get enough submissions, we can always extend it.
We should do it right the first time. Give it a month, and then we see what we got in a month, because that's usually what we do when we ask for bids. Bids stay out there for at least a month. So this going for a 10-day period, something for this magnitude, doesn't. I don't understand that. But I will say this. I'm not going to comment on any of this RFQ or anything like that, because right now we're in litigation. The village is being sued, the trustees and the village is being sued by our trustees. So for me to comment will be detrimental. So I will not comment on anything doing with the RFQ. If the board wants to go out and vote for an RFQ, I won't give my comment, because we are in litigation, and it's going to cost us some money for this litigation that came before the board. So,
Trustee Brewer, I have another question. So on the agenda it says an RFP, but you gave us an RFQ. So I'm just a little confused there. And then also, who prepared this as well? Did you prepare this one too?
No,
Okay. Who prepared this?
I have no idea.
You don't know?
I don't know.
Well, I don't feel comfortable reviewing this if you don't know who prepared it.
But Trustee Grant, you have been here with me for 2 years. You have voted on a lot of stuff that I wasn't comfortable with. So, I mean, come on. Some of these things were never.
That sounds personal.
Never.
So
That's not personal. Some of those things were never drafted by the attorney, but yet you voted on them.
Trustee,
Some of those things were never drafted by the attorney,
All right.
but you voted on them.
We were doing really well.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And Trustee, so you also, I want to go back to my original question. So what's the scope? Like, what are you telling the people who are going to submit their RFQ to look for. That's all I want to know.
Isn't it on that,
No, it's not. It tells me everything they need to submit, but it doesn't tell me what they're going to be looking for.
if you're not mistaken, I gave you a sheet of paper that says the scope of work.
But you said you didn't create this, so I just want to know, do you know what's on here? Because I can't see where it says what they're going to be looking for.
Look at the document and it says scope of work. I don't know why I'm putting that.
It says scope of services.
Scope of services, that's what they're gonna
It's
do.
general. It says the village requests proposals from qualified firms or certified public accountants for conducting forensic audits of the financial operation of the village for the last 2 fiscal years. Then it gives me some information about how it should be, in accordance with auditing standards.
So
It doesn't tell me what they're looking for in those 2 years. Are you looking for mismanagement? Are you looking for, what is it are they looking for? Because what I'm afraid of is this. So we say, okay, well, I think the mayor said it earlier, okay, we have a problem, go find it. But without saying, leading them down the path of what they're looking for, they're gonna look for everything. It's gonna take countless hours, and we'll get stuck with a bill that's super expensive and that we cannot already afford.
Well, I mean, Trustee Grant, in defense of the residents of Sauk Village, we have been going down that slope for years. We don't know where the money is. And what we're trying to do is get some professionals to come in here and tell us what's going on and what's been going on. It's been mismanaged for years.
Trustee Brewer,
Case in point, we had an Osling grant with $30,000 for $105,000, $30,000 of us for design. Where's the $80,000? Did it go back or whatever? Those are the kind of things that we're looking for.
Okay, well, you have to put that on the sheet.
Now, I'm not finished. I haven't finished. So you want to know all the scope of work? That's what the forensic audit is going to tell you. What he's going to do for all that, for the money that he's going to pay. That's what forensic audits do. They're going to give us a job description and everything.
Job description?
I mean, of what they're going to do. A scope of description.
No,
of what they're gonna do.
trustee, when I take my car to the shop, McCain don't tell me what needs to be done. I tell him what I think is wrong. So we need to tell them, if you're looking for the Osling grant, say, hey, I think we need to look into the Osling grant. You need to tell him or him or her, whoever, the firm, what we're looking for, instead of let them tell.
That's what RFP
No, but that's not what's stated in the scope, though.
That's what RFP does. It asks you what they're going to do, what they're looking for, all the discrepancy. No. We're not looking for any wrongdoing. We're just trying to find out where the money is.
But, okay.
Okay. Public comment. Okay. General comments. Any comments from the Board of Trustees?
She's coming up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see anybody stand up.
Okay, Bernadine Hopkins. I wanted to know regarding the water bill situation. Okay, I understand that you all are considering billing us monthly. I think that's correct. However, I want to know, how are you going to divide the garbage and the sewer? How's that going to be billed, or is that an additional bill? Also, I wanted to know as far as the late fees go and all of that kind of stuff. So will we start getting late fees for the garbage, the sewer, and just a number of things? Because did anybody consider what's beneficial to the residents? I do understand that you all are trying to generate more funds. I mean, you will be getting them, but you're just gonna get them bi-monthly, which makes it easier on us. But did anybody consider, what's helpful to us, or even bother to try to ask us what's helpful to us? And let's see. I'm gonna let that do. So, thank you.
I gotta get up at 3 a.m.
Nanette Wargo. My question is, if $250,000 was borrowed from the TIF fund, how did you pay it back? And did you provide interest to the TIF fund? Since the TIF is a committee of people that involve all the taxing bodies in the area. So that means that the public library lost money while that money was being used for something else. That's one question. The second question is, the forensic audit could deal with the CN fund, it could deal with the Osling grant, and it could deal with all the money that has been taken from the water fund to fund the day-to-day activities of the village, which is a total violation. Many years ago, Nancy McConaughey and I sued the village for taking money from the water fund and using it for things other than the water fund. The court decided that the only people that could be paid with water fund money were people that actually worked for the water department. When Eddie Neff, who was in charge of the water department back then, and Public Works, worked for the water department, that part of his salary came from the water department. But the rest of his money had to come from the general fund. The same thing was true of the people that did the billing, the people in Public Works that did repairs. If they were working on water issues, they got paid from water. If not, they got paid from the general fund. When all of you work very hard, and you're going to have to work extremely hard to do the budget, the one thing you need to remember is, yes, you do have to cut. It's very tough, but you're going to have to determine how you are actually going to be able to function as a village without constantly borrowing illegally from the water fund. There are so many laws dealing with public utilities. I don't know whether the residents understand that it is a public utility. The residents own the water fund. They own that. And you cannot legally overcharge for water. But yet if you can continually borrow from it to pay other people, you must be overcharging for your water. Because you should have been taking those millions of dollars you've been borrowing to get it. Same thing with the fire hydrants. Anyway, I want you all to know I think you've been fabulous. I think you all have lots to say and lots to do, and I'm very proud of you all. Thank you.
Billing, water, I'm sorry, somebody else? Water billing, and as far as garbage, the monthly billing, your garbage bill will be split in half. Your water bill will be read every month. And there will be late bills. Like was stated earlier, you have about a month and a half to pay your water bill as far as before it gets cut off, but you will incur a late fee that you have to pay. But it won't be cut off for a month and a half. As far as, okay, the $250,000, was that ever paid back? I stated that, yes it was. That following, think Monday or Tuesday, I informed the board at the time. Was it paid back with interest? No. But it was paid back. As far as borrowing from the water fund, I think I haven't used that. We haven't used that in over a year now. That we have used any money that we were short, we had to take it from the water fund. So that's been almost a year. The water fund does have a balance. I don't know exactly what it is right now, but it does have a balance, a positive balance in it. But over a year, when I first came in, yes, I think it was once or twice that I had to actually ask the board to take money out of the water fund. Has it been put back? I've never seen it put back. I have not put anything back from the water fund since the water money. We would borrow money every other month years ago to pay payments, and I haven't seen anything. At least I didn't ask was there any money being put back. But I know this last year, 2018, there was nothing that I've asked the board to take money out of the water fund to pay bills. That's why I tried to get a bridge loan, and this, hopefully we can get a line of credit this year, as stated before. We have a lean time between April and October where we have no money coming in, no tax money coming in, we still have bills to pay. So that's why I wanted to get, and I've asked the board, and I will be asking this board to, for us to get a line of credit. We had a TALS last year. That's an anticipated warrant. But this year I would like to see if we can qualify for a line of credit, which is much, much cheaper for us to apply. Years ago they used to do it before I was mayor, years and years ago, they used to have a line of credit that we were able to get $500,000 to bridge. Like I said, since that time, we have not able to qualify for that. Hopefully this time we will be back to being able to qualify. And at one point in time, I hope we will be able to get a bond rating. So that's what I'm working for. Any other questions? I'll ask, does the board have any comments?
Mr. Mayor, with the new board being on here with their standing committees, can you get that information to me? I'm sitting on that ordinance waiting to amend it. So whatever standing committees,
Yeah.
so that I could schedule
I'll
a
get that ordinance to
meeting
you.
like at the beginning of June.
I'll get it
Is
to
when
you.
I want to do that. So the next board meeting, I will announce when we're going to have our meeting. I have to get together with our committee, because I have a couple of ordinances that'll come before this board. Thank you.
Ms. Mayor, you have alluded to the lawsuit that I filed. Just to let you residents know, I filed a lawsuit, I think it was back in April, because I'm not getting documents that I should be getting. Trustees should have access to documents at any time upon demand. Illinois State Statute, Sauk Village Code. The mayor has gone out of his way to keep documents away from me. Why, I don't know. I cannot elaborate anymore because it's a pending litigation. It's not gonna cost, well, I have to pay my money, but the mayor has to get his own attorney. But I'm just saying that anytime you have a trustee, somebody you voted to be a trustee, you need supporting documents. Simple. Can't get it twisted. That's the way it's supposed to be. And in reference to the water fund, I got documents from Finch that said we should see a little over $1.5 million since May of 2018. The bottom line is that we only have a little over $300,000 in the account that's left. My question is to him, and one reason why we need a forensic audit is, what did we pay all that money on? What did we do with all that money? Nobody said anything about wrongdoing. We just want to know why, what does things cost? How do we come up with only a little over $300,000 left? Simple. All you have to do is give us a report, okay? There's something in there. There's no reason why every time you turn around, the money has to be transferred to the water fund to get anything. If you have that much money to transfer to the water fund, you need to go out there and start fixing some of these pipes. Just look up fire hydrant, do something for the residents, okay? That's what we're paying for. If we paying all that extra money, then somebody needs to give us some money back. We don't need to be paying all that money for things we're not getting. They're using the money for day-to-day operations. That is not what it was intended for, and that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just have just a comment. So if we had $1.3 million back then, we have $300,000 now, whatever the case may be, the water fund has expenses continuously. That's salaries, that's parts, that's whatever the water and sewer department need, that's what they spend the water fund on. So when you say day-to-day operations, yeah, just for example, Kevin Weller, he's a day-to-day employee, so we pay his salary, half his salary out of the water fund, half out of the sewer fund. That's how it works. So the water fund is not just some fund that it just keeps piling up money and you don't spend it. It works that you spend it on water-related expenses, whatever they may be. Anything water-related comes out the water fund, and that's all I have.
I agree. Where's the detail? That's the only thing I'm asking for. Show us the detail.
We're not going back and forth, trustee.
Public Safety Committee will be meeting on Tuesday the 28th at 11 a.m. We'll meet out here in the lobby, and we'll come back to cover B. Thank you.
I'm sorry, when?
We're going to meet Tuesday the 28th, 11 a.m.
Tuesday the
28th.
28th?
Is that the 28th?
Next week.
Oh, yeah, it's the 28th.
Okay.
11 a.m.
Trustee Wade.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This has been a rough meeting for all of us, and I just hope that we can go home tonight and relax after this. But I do want to say that the water fund transfers are a big concern of mine, and one of the reasons is because 2009, 2010, the village was hit with a vinyl chloride crisis that cost us a lot of money. We had to, luckily, we had money in our water fund to pass bottled water out of the community center. Some residents don't even know that that happened back then. At that point, when the mayor of 2009 took his seat, he was $500,000 in the hole. His budget, there was $500,000 worth of checks sitting on a desk. So no, this didn't just start. Finances are important. We really need to find out where we're at. It has gotten worse over the years. I don't think it's gotten better. So yes, we started off $500,000 in the hole in 2009. 2010, we had a water crisis. We were mandated by the state to provide air strippers. There was a lot of money that went into research for Lake Michigan water. Engineers were paid, studies were conducted, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars were spent on water. And had we not had that money in the water fund, we would have really been in trouble because we were mandated to do the things that we did. So we do need to find out what we can do to avoid borrowing money from the water and find out exactly where we are, where our finances. But I would also like to say I want to be a little bit more careful about two things: parliamentary procedure and about mentioning personnel's names in public. We have to be a little bit more careful about, especially personnel from the past. We're using people by name. And I think we should direct it as finance director or previous finance director or HR director. And I know I think we've all done it tonight. So I think we need to be a little bit more mindful about that. And on a better note, I am also having a committee meeting, and my committee meeting is this Thursday at 7 o'clock in the Municipal Center. And really what I want is to see your vision, get your experience, your ability to think outside the box, and most importantly, your willingness to volunteer. We need to come together to plan the next steps to rebuilding our community. Everybody's welcome. I want everybody who wants to be a part of this committee. We will be thinking about what talents or strengths can you bring, and we will reintroduce programs and create new programs, and we'll come up with a monthly meeting date. So please consider being part of a committee that wants to make some positive moves in Sauk Village this Thursday, May 23rd at 7 o'clock. Thank you very much. Well, it's, as I've been told, it's the Community Events Committee, but
Public events. Public events.
Public Events Committee. So that's, you know, for right now.
Okay, again, thank you very much for being here the last 4 hours. I hope that, you know, some of your questions were asked. I'm reluctant because of a lot of different things that are going on, but I just want to apologize for some of the things that happened. People were speaking their mind. People were adamant and passionate about how they feel, especially when you spend money. So that being said, hopefully that our meetings won't be like this. I used to sit through meetings like this years ago that would last till 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. Hopefully we don't go back and forth and have to do with this back and forth. I hope everybody learns from that, but there's things, there's work that needs to be done. And I will tell you, yes, the village is in a better financial state than it was 2 or 3 years ago. Yes, it is. I don't know when anyone feels any different. They come in and look at the books and see. I don't know exactly what's on the agent report because the agent report is just what it is. Bills come in every day. But I do know that it's better now than it ever has been. So that being said, I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
It's moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Good night.